don't know what I'm doing with my hands right now, but hey guys, it's Zoe, and today I'm going to be talking about how I rate books. Before I get into this, you should probably know that I am not what you would call a critical reader. I read for enjoyment, I read for escape. I don't like to think too deeply about what I'm reading because honestly, that kind of just takes the fun out of it for me. For 2 of my degrees, I had to think critically about a whole bunch of different books that I loved, books that I hated, and I just don't want to do that when I'm reading for fun. You're not really going to see a whole in-depth sort of system for how I do things because there's not really that much to it. If you want to see, what the hell am I saying? If you do want to see a more in-depth rating system, I will leave some link down below. You should definitely check these out because it's a more critical way of looking at things. So with that, let's get into how I rate my books, starting from 5-star books going down to 1-star. So 5-star books for me are books that stick with me. I'm thinking about them for weeks after. I either am laughing out loud, crying out loud. I've gone and told my husband, my mother, my best friend. I've screamed about it on Twitter. I've posted about it on Instagram. You know when I love a book. I just don't shut up about it. It's fine. It's probably a problem, but it's fine. These books are usually perfect or almost perfect in every possible way. The characters are amazing and I connected with them. The world building was fantastic. The romance was just juicy. Generally, these are fantasy or romance books that get 5 stars from me. Those are my 2 favorite genres. Those are what I gravitate towards most, and those are the ones that fulfill what I'm looking for the easiest. Which brings me to 4-star books, which are almost 5 stars, but there's just something missing, and often it's a certain je ne sais quoi that I actually, and often it's a certain je ne sais quoi. I don't know what it is that's missing. I feel it, but I can't put it into words, which honestly doesn't make sense because I have degrees in 2 languages, and you would think I'd be able to find words somewhere. But no, I just can't. It's not anything that's really standing out. It's not anything that's usually too obvious, and it's not something that's big enough that it would bump it down to a 3-star, but it's just something missing preventing it from being 5 stars. 4 stars are a really odd spot for me because 4 stars, like 2 stars we'll see, are an odd spot for me. The odd numbers are much easier for me to rate. A 4-star book is just, I don't know. 5-star books are usually, 5-star books, you'll usually see me giving them like 6 out of 10, 12 out of 10, keyboard smash out of 10. They're just so good that I cannot contain myself. A perfect example of this, a perfect example of a 5-star book would be Dark Dawn by J. Kristoff. I finished it on October 1st, maybe October 2nd. I think it was October 2nd. It's now October 5th. Happy birthday, Fuicha. And I cannot stop thinking about it. I've been dreaming about it. I've been randomly crying. I was talking to an employee at Indigo next to the Starbucks that I work at, and I was just gushing, trying not to spoil it because she hasn't gotten to it yet, but I was almost crying. It's everything. This book is literally everything. I think I gave it a keyboard smash out of 5. That'll do it. A good example of a 4-star book for me would be There Will Come a Darkness by Katie Rosepool. Will come, yeah. It was good. It was a solid fantasy debut, but there was just something missing. And one day I will come up with a better way to explain what I mean, but it's a feeling and not really something that I can put into words, like I literally just said. Come on, you're being a dummy. This could really be just me being super fucking picky, but it is what it is. 4-star books are also something that I will probably read again, like this one, especially when there is a sequel coming out. 4-star books, along with 5-star, which I forgot to mention, these are the type of books that if there is a sequel, I will be on the edge of my seat waiting for the next book to come out. I forgot to mention this in 5-star books, but if it's part of a series and there are more books coming out, I will be waiting on the edge of my seat for this next book to come out, and I will just be salivating when it comes out, and I will most likely be pre-ordering, but that doesn't always happen with 4-star books. For example, with this one, I'm excited for the sequel, but I can wait. I'm fine. I don't need it as much as I would if this was a 5-star book. 3-star books are much easier for me than 4-star books because they are just average. They were good, not great. I would still recommend them, but I don't usually get the hype. And what I mean by that is a lot of really, really hyped books, I end up giving 3 stars, sometimes 2. And a lot of the times that is, I don't know what's on my shirt, but it bothered me. And it's not gone yet. And it's gone. A lot of the times 3-star books end up getting bumped down to 2 stars or up to 4 stars. And what I mean by that is a lot of super, super hyped books, I end up giving 3 stars, especially when I don't see any critical reviews about them and it's just, hey, here's the book, here's the pedestal. It's perfect, there's nothing wrong with it, everybody needs it. Nah. No. A perfect example of a super hyped book that I gave 3 stars because I just don't get it. And if you've seen my recent videos, you know exactly where I'm going with this. I need to find it first. Are you here? Honestly, 4 out of these 5 books really work for this one. The Lightning Thief by Rick Riordan. The hype around Percy Jackson is real, but I gave 4 out of the 5 books 3 stars. The second one is the only one that I gave 2 stars. Good, not great. Nothing special. I don't understand why people love it as much as they do. And some people have been offended by it, and you know what? I really just don't care because I don't get the hype. I would recommend this, especially to younger readers, but I see myself maybe reading this one more time and not listening to the audiobooks because the audiobooks were garbage, but I cannot see myself reading this particular series ever again. Sorry. Not sorry. Which brings me to 2 stars. 3-star books also like 4-star. If it's a sequel, sure. If there's a sequel, I'll read it, which is gonna be the answer for everything because I'm a nosy ass bitch and I need to know how a series ends. I need to know what happens in the next books, but it can wait. I can wait several years before getting around to it. I have other books that take more priority. I have other books that are a higher priority than a sequel for a book that was just kind of meh, but I will get to it eventually. Which brings me to 2-star books. 2-star, like 4-star, are a weird middle ground. They're not complete garbage, but they are much less than average. They're just not even like a meh, they're a meh. There's a difference there, trust me. Bring out the torch and pitchforks. All right, people, get your pitchforks ready. A perfect example of a 2-star book is Daisy Jones and the Six by Taylor Jenkins Reid. This was very meh. The hype, I don't get it. It wasn't meh. It wasn't, you know, good. The audiobook, everybody was saying, listen to the audiobook. It's a full cast. It's amazing. I hated it. I read part of the book. It was not good. I would recommend. I honestly would if you like historical fiction. It hurts me saying this is historical fiction because it's set not that long ago. And it's told through interviews, which like normally, cool. It's a little bit of a different format. Whatever. I do tend to like traditional books better, but I hated the characters. I didn't really like the story. Just nothing really clicked. The only thing that saved it from being 1-star book was the last 20 or so minutes of the audiobook where I was like, oh, holy shit, that's pretty cool, but still very meh. The hype was too much around this book and I didn't see a single negative review, and I think I went in with way too high expectations, which is also on me, but it's just not that good of a book. Which brings me to 1-star ratings. 1-star books are complete trash. I probably will still recommend them if the reason that they're trash isn't because they are offensive in some way. If it's just literally the most boring piece of garbage, I would still recommend it to people who are into that kind of book. It just wasn't for me, but you could be into this kind of book. Like this one. I thought it was complete trash. I thought it was an absolute dumpster fire. And a dumpster that had been sitting there for years, neglected, and then it was like a grease fire or something. I don't know. But if you are into, 14th century Scandinavia and some weird shit going on, yeah, I'd recommend it. But I just don't ever want to think about this book again. It was horrendous. I'm trying to think of a book that I gave 1 star because it was like it was offensive or there was some sort of extremely racist element or homophobic, and I don't know. Let me check Goodreads. 1 stars are few and far between. I don't think I have many 1-star books. Sort by your rating. Let's get through all the ones that I haven't rated because I read them so long ago. Come on. You're fucking killing me, Smalls. Oh my god. Oh my god. That's a 5-star book that I haven't rated. All right. Oh my god. Why are there so many books? Son of a Mother's Lover. I didn't rate that one. When did I rate? Oh, that was before I started booktube and bookstagram. That's why I didn't rate that one, but I'm reading it again this month, so I'll read it later. No. Come on. Okay. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. I only have 4 books that I've rated 1 star. 5 if we include that one that I haven't rated. Only 13 books that are 2 stars. Including 2 Holly Black books. Well, 1. I need to change that rating. None of these books that I've rated 1 star are offensive. They're just complete garbage. They're trash. And then there's half-star ratings. I do half stars. I don't do quarters and 3/4, the 0.25, 0.75. I don't do ratings out of 10. I just do the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. But half stars are when there's something that's making it a little better or a little worse than the cut and dry whole number. And again, that's more of a feeling where there's just something preventing it from being up or down. I have quite a few books that end up getting half stars, but as we all know, Goodreads sucks and won't give half stars. So you'd have to go into my actual review to see when books are half stars. I don't know what I'm doing with my hands right now, but I don't think I'm missing anything. Oh, all of my reviews are subject to change. My ratings are subject to change. The Percy Jackson books, I had originally rated them 4 stars and then 1 3-star, but looking back, I've moved it down to 3 stars and 2 stars, and I'm still very meh about them. The more time that passes, the more meh I get about them. This book has not been changed on Goodreads, but it needs to be. This was 3 stars, but it's actually 2 stars. The Cruel Prince by Holly Black. Generally, this type of thing happens where I read a book, I rate it right away, but then a few days, couple weeks, even sometimes a month later, I'm like, you know what, looking back, it wasn't as good as I thought it was. Or in the rare case, looking back, it's actually better than I thought it was because I'm thinking about it still or whatever reason, but it does go up sometimes. And then in the very rare case, this has only happened 1 time that I can think of. I gave a book 1 star, maybe 2. Reread it, gave it 5 stars. The 5th Season by N.K. Jemisin. I hated this book with a deep, burning passion the first time that I read it. I hated it. I thought it was garbage. The second person really threw me off. The story didn't quite make sense, but then I did a group buddy read and now I love it. Reading it, knowing what I knew happened and things actually made sense, I liked it a lot more. I don't think I've ever had another book jump up that many stars from 1 single reread. It happens. And then on Goodreads, I will always mark the old review and then turns out I lost my mind when I read it the first time or something is different. And then I'll update the star rating, but I will keep the original old review because it's still valid. I did hate it at one point in my life, but I have changed as a person and for some reason I love it now. Like I said, romance and fantasy tend to get higher ratings than other genres just because I tend to like them better. Mystery and thriller, I love them, but I find it very hard to actually find a book that surprises me and isn't super predictable. Most fantasy mystery and thriller that I've read, I have figured out what's happening in the first 20 pages and then it's still enjoyable, but I like to be surprised. So a lot of those I feel like are 5 stars right away and then after I'm like, nah, it's really a 4 star. So I think I gotta go back and reread some of these and change the ratings. I think that's actually it. Like everything else that I do, this is probably all over the place, but you knew what you were getting when you came to this video. Unless you're new to my channel, then like, hey, this is what you're gonna get on other videos. No real system, it's mostly a feeling. And honestly, if you're a critical reader, props to you, because that takes a lot of effort and a lot of brain power that I just don't have most days. So yeah, I think that's really it. Let me know down below in the comments if this rating system made any sense to you. If you are a critical reader or like me are just a reader for enjoyment and don't put too much thought into your reviews and it's more of a feeling, or if that's just too much or you don't have a lot of time, drop some hearts down below, preferably, I cannot say this word ever, preferably purple ones because that's my favorite color. As always, to stay updated with my current reads and how I'm feeling about them, you can follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and Goodreads, all at Your Book Nerd Zoe, which I will leave linked down below in the description box. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe, and I hope you all have a wonderful day and get at least a little bit of uninterrupted reading time. And remember to write your reviews, because I keep forgetting, and I am way behind. I'll see you next time.